good shot.
Sione Katoa puts the Jets back in front. There goes O'Hagan. He's got support. The Redheads combine. Oh, that's a good tackle.
Look at the speed on it.
He won't be stopped. Now away to Aaron Gray, and this could be a famous win of the Jets. This time Gargan will score. If Murphy slides under. Back to Flanagan. He steadies. He's kicked it. Kyle Flanagan.
Hello and welcome to Jubilee Oval for week 2 of the Intra Super Premiership, and we kick off here a magnificent afternoon into the evening on Wide World of Sports. It's the Intra Super Premiership Elimination Final. Then we have the Women's NRL, and then 2 blockbuster NRL matches and 2 champions standing beside me here. Jamie Soward, Matthew Head. Matty Head, your team, the Dragons in the NRL, will feature tomorrow, take on the Broncos. How's the preparation been?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Obviously, there was a couple of injury concerns there during the week. They left to go to Brisbane yesterday, so they'll have their captain's run this morning and get ready to play tomorrow. It's going to be an exciting contest. Obviously, Brisbane have been probably the form team over the last 3 or 4 weeks, so our boys go up there with confidence that we've been pretty good all season, and we've just got to go up there. No pressures on us, and hopefully we can get the win.
And you're coaching the Intra Super Premiership team for St George Illawarra. You've earned the week off.
Yeah, we did. It was a hard tussle last week against Newtown Jets. A couple of calls went either way throughout the game, and it was a good win to our boys. Definitely needed to have the weekend off with our first grade going to Suncorp tomorrow.
Jamie Soward, we've had 1 game in the NRL so far. Melbourne sneaking home against South Sydney. What does it mean now for the South Sydney side? Are they gone, or you still think give them a chance?
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be very hard. They lose that game last night. They put so much into that game. Pretty similar to the ISP clash today. Newtown put so much into that clash last week. You've got to be able to bounce back, and I think it may just be too hard for South Sydney, depending who they play against. I mean, if they come up against the Broncos, I think that's a harder task than, if the Dragons sneak through, battered and bruised, I think that they'd fancy their chances with their big forward pack.
Here's the scenario in the Intra Super Premiership. We have 6 teams left. So we have the Jets taking on Mounties. The winner will play Penrith next week, and Matty Head's Dragons are waiting for the winner of Canterbury and the Wyong Roos, who are the feeder club for the Roosters. But to this one, we look ahead. The Jets, they are the feeder club for the Cronulla Sharks. Gentlemen, they've been pretty good all year. Gee, they can find a try. There's no question about that. As far as the team lineup goes for the Newtown Jets, Jamie Soward, it's a very, very decorated team, that's for sure. Who grabs your eye?
Yeah, it is. Look, Will Kennedy at the back. They've got so much talent in and around Sione Katoa, who comes looking for the ball. It's all going to revolve around Kyle Flanagan and Marshke today. If they can get their kicking game on, that'll bring Brayley into the game, and that's a pretty formidable side there for the Newtown Jets.
You caught up with Kyle Flanagan moments ago, asking him the question. They had a loss, a dangerous, close loss last week. How do they respond today?
Yeah, we're definitely ready to bounce back. We spoke about it earlier in the week, flushed it, and hopefully ready to go today.
Tricky conditions this afternoon. You must be relishing the fact that you're going to play such a big part with your kicking game.
Yeah, I guess so. There's a bit of wind around, but it's a bit dewy as well. So, definitely important to make sure I get my last 2 options right.
Made your first grade debut a couple of weeks ago. What have you learnt from that and been able to bring back to the ISP competition?
Probably just possession, I guess. It's so important to control the ball, where you give the option in the ball as well. So, definitely look to control the game today.
Good luck today.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Yes, they've played twice this year, 1 apiece, so this could go any way. But I suppose, Jamie Soward, the big omission here, a man who hasn't played for about 6 weeks now, Craig Garvey, their former number 9.
Yeah, probably the best player in the competition. Really gets out of dummy half, really gets everything going for this Mountie side, and they were so dominant early on in the season. Towards the back end, him not playing, they've really dropped off.
Matty Head, you've coached against both these teams, but for the Mounties, we look at their team list. Who are the danger men on this piece of paper?
Yeah, well, with the Mounties, it's their forward pack, really strong. Our boys played them the last round going into the finals, and I thought their forward pack was extremely physical against us. And you made mention of missing out on Garvey, but Brad Abbey's back in the team too. So you add that forward pack with Brad Abbey, you'll see some points out of the Mounties today.
Yes, well, Jamie, you spoke with Brad Abbey, asking him about the question, who's the man who's been occupying most of the time on the tip sheet?
There's definitely a lot of threat in their team. I think Flanagan and Brayley are going to be a bit big part of their spine for them and controlling the game. But if we can sort those 2 out, then I think we'll be all right.
What have you learnt at the NRL level that you're going to be able to bring back to the ISB competition?
Oh, plenty. Just staying composed and just playing your game. Getting experience up there was good for me, and I'm glad I get to bring it back to the boys. Yeah.
No worries. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Yeah, a bit of confidence there for Brad Abbey. A hat-trick last time he played against the Newtown Jets. Righto, gentlemen, Penrith awaiting the winner in the prelim. Who are they playing?
Yeah, well, I'd love to make this call about the 15-minute mark of the game just to see how Newtown have responded after last week's loss. But I'm going to pick Newtown today. I think they'll be too strong in their halves.
Yeah, I agree with Matty Head. I think you're going to, the intentions of the Newtown Jets, how they bounced back after that tight loss last week, about 10, 15 minutes in. So I'll go Newtown, but, geez, Brad Abbey back in that Mounties side makes them look a whole lot better.
What a clash coming up. There are 16 players who have played first grade at some point. Stay with us right here after the break. It's kick-off in the Intra-Super Premiership Elimination Final time. The Jets and the Mounties. Welcome back to Jubilee Oval. It is elimination time in the Intra-Super Premiership. The Newtown Jets taking on Mounties. Mounties, the feeder club of that little beanie you see there, the Canberra Raiders. And of course the Newtown Jets, a proud, proud club. Many in attendance for them. They are the feeder club for the Cronulla Sharks. Here's Royce Hunt, Liam Knight, Tane Milne, Makahesi Makator. The Mounties make their way out. It has been a real struggle the last couple of months. Round 18, they lost Craig Garvey, who left the club for personal reasons back to Sydney, and Jamie Sow. They have been running uphill ever since. That said, they got away with a big win last week.
Yeah, big win last week, a 1-point victory over the Warriors side. So you spoke about that man, Craig Garvey. I couldn't have had bigger raps on him. He was a first grader in this competition. Unfortunately, since he left, they have been struggling a little bit, but they find themselves in a do-or-die clash today against the side coming out now, Newtown. Matt Head, that you guys beat last week. How hard is it going to be for them to bounce back?
Yeah, well, it will be tough. I think when you get beat in the last minute or 2 minutes, how they did last week, it was a terrific game of football. Both teams put everything out there, and they're a great attacking team, Newtown, and sometimes they can give you a couple of tries that they probably shouldn't. So it's going to be an interesting first 15 to 20 minutes, I think, for Newtown. If they can come out and really start hard, running hard and defending hard, they might put last week to the back of their minds. But I think if Mounties can get off to a good start, it might put Newtown in a bit of negative town, thinking that they shouldn't have lost last week and what are we doing here? So an interesting game, Joel.
Who of the Jets caused you the most headaches last week?
Well, it was their forward pack. I think they really come out to fire up against us last week. They got Dylan back this week, which is going to be even great for them. But Nakora and Maratis were their two best last week, and then Brayley and Flanagan off the back of them. So they're going to be up for the challenge today, Newtown.
We have kick-off elimination semi-final. The winner will play the minor premiers next week. The Penrith Panthers in a preliminary final. Newtown Jets have possession to kick things off. And it's Arvasi Manafanai with the first carry of the match. Aaron Gray goes for an early carry. Newtown, no one has scored more tries this season than the Newtown Jets. As Jamin Jolliffe into the starting side. 12 metres short of the halfway line. Brayley's had a brilliant season. Evans been everywhere for Newtown. He's played wing, fullback, so many positions. Marshke sweeps to the left-hand side. And now back in field goes Dylan, who's been grafting away in the Intra-Super Premiership and rewarded with a 2-year contract for Anthony Seibold's South Sydney Rabbitohs. Shallow kick here. Here's a danger. Kennedy got on the full. It goes back and in the hands of Mounties. But one of those dangerous kicks which was left behind, and a bullet dodge for Mounties.
Yeah, big bullet dodge for the Mounties side there. Coming forward to it at the back was Abbey, and he decides to let Kennedy catch it. So it ended up being okay, but very good first set for Newtown. Made a few little passes to get to an edge and then get to a kick.
The fullback, Mothen Drecker, goes for the first carry. Well, he's got the fullback number on his back, but not playing there with Abbey having gone back to fullback. Mounties 6 metres short of the halfway line. Lawani, he feels avoided dummy half with Garvey having left the club as Hunt. Just a one first grade game for Hunt. And you remember the game probably. Canberra played Penrith in Bathurst. They had the game wrapped up, and then 2 tries in the last 3 minutes would steal a win for the Penrith Panthers, and a heartbreaking debut for Royce Hunt. Mounties 35 metres away. Knight goes deep to Murchie. The Murchie cut down by Flanagan and Britt Nakora. Last play, says referee Todd Smith. Back to the match winner of last week, and he sends it high now. Cornish looking across for Bessie or Funga Tumunga.
And the Jets have it 10 metres out from their own goal line.
Yeah, it was going to be interesting to see. You watch Kennedy come into the attack now. He's got that right arm heavily strapped, his elbow and shoulder. And a couple of times last week he come out of tackles and he was really playing around with it. So Newtown need him on fire today. They need him to get his hands on the ball and get plenty of carries, because when he does, he's electric.
They're a bunch lot early here. The Jets, as see him for an eye. Hurdles towards the 30. Brayley geeing his team up to play a bit quicker. Dylan, the angling march, and he runs into the shoulder of Makahesi Makator, who captains the side in company with Hunt today. Left-hand side now under pressure. That was Jesse Marshke. He looks a little bit different. Jesse usually carries the longer hair. He's had the haircut, and here comes Abby, who was just dynamite last time they met at Henson Park. He scored a first half hat-trick. Satini, if he can win. He played in last year's state championship, scoring 4 tries. He also scored a try in the grand final. Murchie. Big raps on this young fellow. Cornish, O'Hagan, back to 9. And the former Manly Seagull will play it 42 metres out from the try line. These are the coach killers. Penalty late in the set. And Jamie Soward, we see it nearly every week. We start a game with a penalty like this, and it leads more often than not to 4 points.
Well, you can see the momentum that Mounties gained there off the back of their defensive set. The Newtown struggled to find any yardage. They get a kick field on the field by Abbey, and then you see Knight just getting forward, earns his side a repeat set and a penalty. So danger signs early for Newtown. If they had such a tight loss last week, they need to defend their line just to get right into this game.
Shifting it early, O'Hagan, Makahesi Makator.
And if I'm the Mounties halfback, I'm going out to Liam Knight and saying, that's twice he's passed now. You just get in there and lay a platform. Don't worry about passing, big fella. Get to a point straight away.
Possibly the toughest player on the field, plays at 18 metres out. That's Corey Horsburgh. Luani explores left. Now Cornish fires it deep to Abbey. Slick hands Murphy. Good defence from Gray and Flanagan. They bring him down 11 metres out from the try line. Satini, Cornish, gliding across the 20-metre stripe. Straighten things now, O'Hagan. He sends it back to Mothindrick. Here puts the kick through. Here they come. They put another kick through. O'Hagan looking for the try. O'Hagan, he makes a claim, but dead by the Jets. Goal line restart.
Well, it becomes a repeat set. It was a messy one at that. But it's just O'Hagan just competing for the ball here. You can see they put in a little grubber there from Milne. And it's just the competitiveness of O'Hagan gets back, and a Whangatumanga knocks it dead. So great work from the 5'8". Newtown defend their line again.
Under siege early. Flanagan didn't quite get onto it, and Makator has another carry for Mounties, 21 metres out. Can they rattle the cage here with the first try? Hunt got away from Brayley, finished off by Kogarah. Marshke was their assist as well. Left-hand side now, O'Hagan. O'Hagan to Cornish. Slick hands to Murchie. Great tackle as well from Sione Katoa.
Yeah, well, you just have a look at the Mountie shape. And I think it's all been wrapped around Garvey and how fast you can get out of dummy half. And that's probably the biggest thing they've struggled in the last 6 weeks. But it just looks too slow out of hooker. So the halves are getting the ball way too late, and there's no fluency in their attack. So you just saw there, if they had been able to go out the back and go a bit faster at the defensive line, Sowie, then Abbey would have been out the back and they would have been able to strip him. But because it's so slow out of 9, it makes it hard for Abbey to come up with anything.
Yeah, it's not as crisp, is it? I mean, you look at Garvey's passing game, he gets out of dummy half, he takes 3 or 4 steps before the defence starts coming at him, and you can see there, they go to this left-hand side, it's very clunky and slow. So now Newtown get a penalty, quick tap from Katoa.
He's been the danger man of the competition. He's been James Tedesco-like. Sione Katoa, 30 tackle busts in the last 2 weeks for Sione Katoa.
Yeah, well, Jolly probably had 28 last week. He was unstoppable last week. We couldn't get a hand on it. Well, we could get a hand on him. We just couldn't bring him down.
Couldn't keep a hand on him.
He was outstanding last week.
He's too good, isn't he? He is a first grader every day of the week. Sione Katoa.
Well, the best thing about him, Joel, is he goes looking for the football. He doesn't just do his job. So we obviously had an eye on him, and we had to have communication when he was around the ball. But unfortunately for us last week, it didn't help us.
Brayley, Flanagan. Flanagan steadies things up, and Kogarah So many of these youngsters having played together, those three around the ball all played 20s last year. Set play, it comes across now to Flanagan, early kick. But Satini up to the challenge. Palmed away from Kennedy, got away from Marshke. Strong carry from the winger from Mounties.
Yeah, I like the play from Flanagan. I just think the kick selection was wrong. He needed to go up in the air there. Nice little cage kick. Make Abbey field it and then get to the corner. You can see how dangerous Satini is bringing the ball back, gets him back on the front foot.
Yeah, well, young Flanagan, he's going to have to come up with a lot of answers today, I think. Without his halves partner in Jack A. Williams, he's an unsung hero of the Newtown Jets, the 5'8", and with him being missing today, a lot of pressure goes on Murski, but as there's a little injury here, but I suspect that a lot of football is going to go to the Newtown right edge.
Yeah, you'd be right.
So that's Gray on the right edge, that's Katoa, and there's a player down now just being tended to. That's Liam Knight.
Poked in the eyes, the worst injury you can have.
Well, Cameron Smith
on the field.
Last night.
It just takes so long to recover from, and you can see there, Knight. But I think Matthew Head's right. You look at Nakora down this side, who runs that nice tight line. Kennedy out the back. They've already shown their hand coming down here. And it's been a good bounce back after being on the back foot early on from Newtown.
Yeah, exactly. And the good thing is with Gray, he runs a great line for a centre, and then Kennedy has the short ball to hit him or go long to Katoa, and he scores a lot of points. So, as I said, I think the right edge of Newtown, as now they've given away a penalty. Newtown won't be happy with their discipline to start this game.
I think the key for Mounties this set, that first set, they went the windscreen wipers. They went from side to side. They went to the right edge, and they kept playing back to the left-hand edge, and they come up with an error. Look to go a little bit of change of angle here. Try and burst through, go through the middle, go to a set that everyone knows.
Oh, good shot. Charging up out of the line was Dillon. He knows they need the ball back. They're under siege here, the Jets. Knight. So he looks okay here, Liam Knight. 5 metres out from the try line. Desperately scrambling the Jets. Luani, a little lost here. Cornish. O'Hagan now to... Well, it goes back out to the winger, Tane Milne, who's playing in the centre. So Modern Drecker has been pushed to the wing. He's now dummy half. But they just looked a little lost. Mounties. Here's a settling play. Makator. Brayley down below. Good defence. Luani. O'Hagan. Dummying again. Now Cornish. Cornish away from Nakora. Stepping 5 metres out, now 2 metres out from the try line. It's a gift, 2 points if they wish to take them.
Yeah, they're going to take it, Joel.
They don't often take them, do they?
No, they don't. The message has gone out, and I think from Ryan Carr's point of view, you'd be taking it just so you can get to your halves and say, look, our attack is not organised enough. We're not getting the right communication. We're going to that right edge. You see already Cornish got the ball out the back with not much doing. And just settle his side down a little bit.
We'll take a break. Sidoveni Modern Drecker, Fijian international this year. A gift kick to take the first points of the match to Mounties. Many people expecting the Jets to get away with this because it has been a tough couple of months for Mounties, but that's exactly how you like to start the game.
Yeah, well, it is. You've only got to go back to last week, boys, and you saw the score lines of all the games. So the 2 points, I would assume that all coaches have had a look at that. And we understand how close the games are at this stage of the season. So any 2 points is good points. And as we may mention before the game, Mounties needed to play from in front to have any chance.
I understand Mounties without today. He hasn't played for a couple of months now. Michaeli Ravalawa. I understand he's joining the Dragons next year, the winger.
He's a wonderful player. Yeah, I think he will be at the club next year. He's scored plenty of tries, and he hasn't played for half the season, and he's still in the top 5 try scorers. So he's a wonderful talent.
Here comes Knight. Back beyond the 20, 2-0 Mounties. But we know they have some tries. I ran into Johnny Trad, if you've seen the coverage before at the Henson Park games. He does a lap of honour on a penny farthing every time the Jets score a try, and he suggests there's 8 tries in the Jets this afternoon. O'Hagan puts the early kick through, and Kennedy forced to go back. And Jamie Soward, you're telling me here, which it won't get the bounce on this occasion, but it's a very slow in goal here at Kogarah.
Yeah, it can be. You see there, O'Hagan just overcooked that little one. just a little bit, but more towards that corner. And Matty Head's played here as well enough to be able to know that it can sit up a little bit. But you see there, that one just rolled towards the middle of the field and goes dead.
Gee, that's a big call, isn't it? I know not in the general scheme of the game, but here's 2 tackles now. They go for the quick tap through Kennedy, gets called back, and they're still inside their 30.
Yeah, well, it's something that I would assume every club works on. When that ball goes dead, that you've got to make sure that you get behind that 20, because the wingers, they're coming flying and want the quick tap. And if you can get behind the 20, which it might take a bit of effort, it's going to save you effort for the rest of the set. So it's a big call that the Newtown Jets missed there.
2 metres short of the halfway line. They haven't quite clicked into gear yet here, and so Flanagan looking for the early kick, possibly the sideline. No, it sits up. Oh, he's chasing through Flanagan. He had a look, Abby. Well, the kick from Flanagan was beautiful. The chase even better. And he wins the wall back for the Newtown Jets.
Yeah, I think he realised, Kyle Flanagan, he didn't quite get it as much as he'd like. But the enthusiasm and the chase just gave enough pressure, and Abby, we'd expect better coming back from the NRL, playing fullback. And now a big chance here for the Newtown Jets.
Well, he needed to get a result out of that too, didn't he? So you don't usually like to see your halves kick early on a 7-tackle set. That's one of the big plays in the game now, when you can get that extra tackle up your sleeve. So to kick early, it's probably something that the coach next door might not have liked, but the result he would love.
Joel Luani leaving the field. So Duggan will be the man who was named to start at dummy half. He'll come on to the field a little earlier than anticipated.
Do you do that, Matthew Head? Do you name players in different positions before the game and then just make it harder for the commentary team?
I think when I first started coaching, I used to like the tricks through the week and that, but as we watch Newtown...
Marshke to Rennie, and Rennie a metre short from the trial, and we'll get back to that head in a moment. Penalty Jets. Not a gift kick, but a chance to level up things if they wish.
Oh, I think they just keep rolling on here. Brayley's got the ball. Flanagan looked to come to this right-hand side with Nakora and Gray.
Jamin Jolliffe. They are very, very deep on the right here, the Jets. Brayley to Marshke, Marshke to Flanagan, Flanagan flat to Nakora. They were deep, but Nakora runs straight and hard and scores the try for the Newtown Jets.
Well, this is all too easy for the Newtown Jets. The second play, first time Mounties have defended their line. Beautiful pass from Brayley. And then Flanagan just enough. Cornish looking out. And Nakora scores to put the Jets in front.
A try to Britt Nakora, former junior Kiwi. They were stretched deep on the right. He scored try last week as well, Britt Nakora, so he's in the mood. And this fellow here on screen, well, he got the ball back. It was a kick. It was a brilliant kick chase. Force the error from Abbey. And now he has a conversion to take the Jets to 6 points to 2. A wobbly start for the Jets, but maybe that's what they need to click into gear. Kyle Flanagan. 360 points he scored last year in the under-20s competition. Flanagan moves in, he keeps it low, but that's 6 points to 2. Jets leading Mounties.
Yeah, well, it's one of the Jets' #1 plays, especially coming to this right, that type of shape. And it's all about Kennedy out the back with his speed. And Cornish knew if he didn't get off the back rower, he might not have the speed to get out the back of Kennedy. So he's had to leave a little bit early, which has then left Newtown one-on-one. And Nakora don't miss those. He's a wonderful line runner, very strong. And from all reports, he is very hard to tackle. So that's a great try.
Pre-game, Matthew Head, you said you'd love to make your selection at the 15-minute mark. Well, we're now there.
Yeah, well, I think that try's just put Newtown. I think they'll go a long way to winning this game now. They've stayed in the contest for long enough. They had a lot of challenges on their own try line in the first 10 to 15 minutes. The first time they got a good ball set, they come away with 6 points.
No, I think the kick chase from Kyle Flanagan, you're right, it was a big play, Matthew Head, 7-tackle set, kick on play 3. That set the tone, the kick chase, to put them on the front foot, and then they score an easy try. So I agree with you. You can see now the roll on after points. Here's Dylan.
Terrific start to a set after a try. They're 41 metres out from the try line. Short side goes Brayley to Marshke. Marshke under pressure. And Abby's got Bessie Ofunga to Munga, spearing into him and brings him down 11 metres out from the try line.
That's the perfect kick after points to pin him in the corner. You can see now the Mounties side, after dominating the momentum early on in this game, they're looking around, hands on hips now.
Yeah, it's a huge rap for the young spine too. See how they come out of the 20 system, that they would have probably liked to have shifted it in one of those early tackles coming out and maybe try and go bang bang, but they understand what's needed at this level and certainly what's going to be needed at the next level. You score points, you need a great set, good kick, and that's what we saw that last set.
I think it's a maturity level in this ISP competition. You'd see the older halves understand the game a lot more, but now Kyle Flanagan playing first grade a couple of weeks ago as O'Hagan finds Kennedy on the full. Perfect positioning from the fullback.
Great take on the fly. Bessie's got it back now and he just skips beyond the 30. So the Jets just starting to pick things up a little bit here. Kennedy, in fact, that's Ruben Rennie. Just on Ruben Rennie, gentlemen. He's had a terrific season, maybe one of the centres of the year. We're surprised to see a guy like him not play first grade.
Yeah, well, as I was coming into the game today, I spoke to the boss of Newtown Jets, and I'm on the same side you are. He's had a wonderful season. He got picked in that New South Wales ISP team, but the unfortunate thing for him is that he's not in that NRL top 30.
Right.
So,
of course.
So when you're in that part-time squad with Newtown, unfortunately, unless there's a stack of injuries in those type of positions, unfortunately, if you're not in the 30, you don't get an NRL game.
Yeah, it's a fair call. I wonder why the rationale for that we deny these youngsters the opportunity. As we see, Arvasia Manafadai got the pass back infield from Flanagan.
It's ridiculous. You're just denying young players an opportunity to go and play first grade. Sometimes you might only play one first grade game, but it's the experience trying to grow the game and get talent. We talk about, you know, our own Joey Johns has talked about the lack of depth in the competition and the team should be trimmed. Well, you don't know if you're a first grader until you get given a chance and go up there. So a lot of these guys would, you know, be chomping at the bit to get a first grade run, and they won't be able to because they're not inside the top 30.
O'Hagan, early possession, they send it across now, and Modern Drecker got the pass from Tane Milne. He'll be familiar with this ground, Tane Milne, former Dragon. Infield now, O'Hagan to Horsburgh. They played against each other, Horsburgh and O'Hagan. Ooh, was there an error from Knight? No, said the referee, Smith. Murchie makes a beeline for Flanagan, who sticks on. Mounties inside the 30, short side goes Cornish, banana kick back, and Kennedy, brilliant field position again, runs straight to O'Hagan and beyond the 20.
And what Kennedy's doing is frustrating Cornish and this Mounties side with their kicking game, just being in position as Katoa comes in and gets rid of O'Hagan, but he's just in such good position at the moment. Here's a quick play the ball. Brayley's off.
Brayley's off, and he gets it again to Bessie Ofunga Tumunga. So they're just starting to click it up a few notches here, the Jets. Katoa taken down well from Makahesi Makator. Tough assignment, bringing him down. Brayley catches him napping. Makator another tackle. So now the Jets 38 away. Quick play the ball. Flanagan sweeps the short side and puts the kick out on the full. What an afternoon we have coming up. Following this one at 3 p.m. It's the Women's NRL. What an historic day in rugby league. And it's the Roosters taking on the Warriors. Talking to Maddie Studden on the footy show the other night. She's absolutely pumped. So they'll start things off at 3 p.m. this afternoon, where Joe Barrett, Alana Ferguson, former Gillaroos, will be there with Sterlo and Matt Thompson, who called the game brilliantly last night. Tomo? Wonderful initiative, isn't it?
Roosters, heavy favourites in that competition. Had the chance to watch some of their players play for Souths, and the Mountie side, Samaima Taufa, probably already mark her down as the best player in the world at the moment.
Who do we like in Samaima to?
She's a hard-hitting...
Paul Gallen?
Yeah, she's a hard-hitting lock who just gets through plenty of work. She'll have 2 carries every set.
Wow. She
carried Mounties to an upset victory over South Sydney. And you got the class of Studden and O'Mealy in the halves. Nakia Davis-Welsh at the back.
Can the men's equivalent of the Mounties, can they get an upset victory? Abbey, they need his involvement to Murphy, taken well by Gray. And he's pinched 6 metres out from the try line. Satini dummy half, long past Cornish. This is the last play. Puts a grubbering kick through. Kennedy, oh, that was classy. Brilliant stuff from Kennedy. Well, now they shift it to Rennie.
His positioning this afternoon is that of a first grade standard. What a pickup from Kennedy. Puts his team on the front foot already at the halfway line. Here's Rennie.
On the fly, just brilliant skill. Brayley to Lolo, who's into the contest. And where's Lolo? They get the penalty. They had him on the back foot. They're under siege, Mounties. What a big minute of rugby league coming up for them now.
Matthew Head, what do you say to Cornish at the moment with his kicking game? What's the message as we see Will Kennedy, a fantastic pickup again, but he's just in every position, isn't he?
Yeah, he certainly is. That is one of his big strengths. He does get in the right position for kicks, so I'm assuming he does a lot of work during the week on where the kickers are going to place their kicks. But yeah, you probably would have liked to have seen Cornish probably go to the air for that one. You want to keep the ball away from Kennedy because, as you saw, he can pick him up and usually goes the length.
They've got it stretched deep on the right again here. They very profitable last time they came here. Marshke, Flanagan, Kennedy back in field to Gray. Desperate defence. Ominous signs now for Ryan Carr's men, the Mounties. Nakora, Lolo. And Lolo, he's got the eyes out the back, but they wrap him up. 2 metres short of the try line. They are treading along now. Nakora, he got the pass away to Katoa. They will get the ball back though, Mounties. Jets rather.
Well, it's down this right-hand side for the Newtown Jets. Wesley Lolo needed to let it go out to that left-hand side. They had a massive overlap, as we see one of the Mounties players has gone down, but it's down this right-hand side, isn't it, Matthew Head?
Yeah, well, again, they did exactly the same play last week where they have Gray, the lead runner, and they get Nakora out the back, who's got nice, soft hands. He can catch and pass, but I'm really impressed there with Satini. So many times I see wingers or even centres, when they know that they've done the wrong thing and they haven't got there early enough, they still just go and try and make the tackle, where he got in the passing lane and knocked the ball down. Stops a 4-pointer.
Gentlemen, look at the body language here for Mounties. Surely there must be points coming.
Oh, they're hanging on. They're on tilt at the moment, Mounties, after that enterprising start. And you go back to, should they have taken the 2 points? Should they have kept the pressure on?
Well, the big thing now, Joel, from the Mounties' point of view, they just need to defend one set.
Elimination final this afternoon. That'll follow the women's NRL, 5 p.m. Panthers, Warriors, Sterlo, Lockie, Fadialana. How do you see that one going down, gentlemen?
Warriors for me.
With confidence?
Oh, no confidence at all. I think that game is the only game of the weekend as we see Newtown wide pass off the scrum.
Flanagan goes deep to Kennedy, and Kennedy takes it well. Dived upon by Tane Milne. Ufunga Tumunga dives into dummy half. Moratis, now Jolliffe, and Jolliffe. Well, here come, guess where they're going here? Which side?
Right side.
Right side, that's where they're going. Brayley, Flanagan, now to Marshke, Nakora. Good tackle from Cornish. And they survive that ray to meter out. Aaron Gray. Back infield, they send it Lolo. And Lolo. No fewer than 3 Mounties players asked to make the tackle. Brayley puts a kick through Magurlius. They've done this many times this season. A set pet play. Brayley, Magurlius, they pick up their second.
Well, it's just all the pressure and then beautiful play from Brayley out of dummy half. No one better in the ISP at doing that from dummy half. And Magurlius scores right next to the post. It's about to be 12-2 to the Jets.
They score their second, the Newtown Jets. Well and truly in command as we skip beyond the 25-minute mark. And that man there, Billy Magurlius. That's his first touch of the ball. They put the kick through. He dived upon the try. And that is something we have seen, isn't it? Brayley to a flat Magurlius. They pounce on the try.
Yeah, it's important for Brayley to bounce back. Last week, very quiet against the Dragons. They took him out of the game with good game planning, but he has done that so many times this year. And it's smart play, getting a back rower to chase it. Caught Mounties off guard, and you felt like points were coming as Flanagan will steer this through. And after a good start from the Mounties, they look like they're on tilt at the moment.
Hard to defend against too, Matthew Head, as he does convert Flanagan when it's, I mean, typically it's a fullback doing the chasing of a kick, and just the back rower, he gets up flat here, Brayley, bang.
Yeah, well, it is, and you see so often now that the defending fullback's always in the line, so if you've got a smart hooker who can come out with that, it's a great play. But it's taken me 25 minutes, boys, but I've just realised that there's no in-goal touch judges today. Last week, my game had them. So do we just sort of make it up with what we're doing with the refs? And
well, there's one here. There must be one judge working both sides, perhaps.
no, they've got 2 refs today.
Okay, yeah, pocket ref.
But they don't have the in-goal touch judges, where we had that last week.
Yeah, interesting. So it rests on the shoulders of the touch judges, I assume, as the Jets get beyond their 40. I know it's only early, but you just get the sense they've got to score next, Mounties.
Well, they've just got to show that they can get the ball and spend some time down there.
He's having a crack, isn't he, Makatoa? So he must be close to having an NRL debut in the next season, because he has been terrific for a couple of seasons now. Makahesi Makatoa. Brayley puts the kick through on the last, and another good set following a try. Satini, he goes backwards. Winds seem to follow this man, Satini. He's brought to the turf 25 metres out from his own goal line. Cornish short side to Abbey. They've kept him reasonably quiet so far. Duggan to Murphy. And very experienced Murphy, over 100 ISP games for him. Duggan flat to Luani, who's back into the contest. And with Duggan playing in the hooking position, he'll play in the back row for the meantime. Duggan, Emre Gula. Now here's a man who could make a difference. Short side, Duggan, O'Hagan sends it to the sky. So far he's been good, Kennedy. No problem on this occasion. And succumbs to the tackle 2 metres out from their own try line.
Well, if they are any chance this afternoon, Mounties, that was a very good set to try and steady this Newtown juggernaut in this first half. They go down there, beautiful kick. Kennedy fields it a metre off his own line, and now they get the chance to aim up in defence and try and wrestle back some field possession.
Yeah, the big thing with the Mounties, with 11.5 minutes to go, having a look at their bench and seeing Hunt and Horsburgh sitting on the bench, it looks to me that Mounties going to try and go through a period where we're just going to keep this game at this scoreline, and then when we go back to our bench, that's where we're going to have that explosive game, because they're their 2 best forwards sitting on the bench.
Royce Hunt and Corey Horsburgh. There's RVC, Manafani and Dillon. The fellow in the jacket, I know Jamie Soward's a big fan of, Addison Demetrio.
Yeah, the pocket rocket. He'll score a try this afternoon, Addison Demetrio. He comes on, plays centre, plays back row. Always seems to break a mountain of tackles. We'll probably see him later on in the second half.
Former Panther Satini, Abbey, now Luani. Hasn't played first grade Joel Luani for 4 years. 2014 was his last appearance. Left to right past Duggan, O'Hagan, Makatoa again, another carry, goes deep at the back. Here's a chance now, Tane Milne turning them inside and out. Tane Milne 15 away, still going. He's within 10, well this would be handy. Duggan to Cornish, they're yet to score a try, well that changed. Gula, Emre Gula. He put out the back play on, no. Mistake, said referee Todd Smith. If not for the call, Duggan slides over for a try.
Seemed to be building nicely down that right edge. Silky hands to get Milne away. Well, they come up with an error right at the end, trying to get an offload and relieve all that good work.
A massive game. Some are saying this is the match of the weekend. Tonight at Allianz Stadium, it's the qualifying final with the Roosters taking on the Sharks. Ray Warren, Phil Gould, Andrew Johns, Brad Fittler, Wally Lewis. What a crew. And the host, James Bracey. We've got all the action live from Allianz. Roosters and the Sharks. Ruben Rennie. Looking forward to that one, Sowie.
Oh, looking forward to that one. I think the Sharks, they're my favourites to win it all.
The whole competition?
Yeah, the whole competition. Back to that game, Warriors-Panthers. Both teams are very similar, aren't they? And I think looking at the conditions, the Warriors seem to have played a lot more footy in that greasy sort of conditions. So look for them to start. And I think they've been a little bit more consistent than what the Panthers have been.
Flanagan now to Kogarah. And Kogarah, who's had a pretty handy first half an hour, he's trapped 41 metres away. Brayley to Flanagan. Flanagan deep away to Kennedy. Kennedy hands it up for Gray. And Murphy makes a tackle. Oh, here's trouble. Sione Katoa. He's got the compass. It's sending him all sorts of places at the moment, Sione. And eventually strapped 22 metres out from the try line. Last tackle, Brayley to Flanagan. Flanagan runs it, gets it to Marshke, puts it on the right foot, pressure, Abbey again. Oh, he's struggling with these grubbering kicks, is Abbey, and the Jets get the ball back.
Well, I'm going to have another look at this. I don't think Brad Abbey actually knocks this on. They go to the left-hand side. Marshke doesn't quite get it right, and just have to see if he does get it. Oh, yeah, he gets that first touch there. So, again, more pressure. Twice this afternoon that Abbey's come up with a big error. And Newtown made him pay the first time. Can they do it again 8 before half-time?
Are they on their way to 18 points now, Matthew Head?
Yeah, well, with their spine, they're so good from scrums. They scored a scrum try against us last week, but there's a lot of different areas where Newtown are over the top of Mounties at the moment, but certainly their kicking game.
Their options here, they'll go flat to Kogarah or deep to Kennedy. What does he do? Goes to Kogarah. So Kogarah settling play, slips and taken by Duggan. 9 metres out, they're on the hunt for their third. Brayley to Malachi Huma, who's into the contest. He's 2 metres out. Marshke's parked on the left. The pivot on the right is Flanagan. They go to the chief playmaker, Flanagan. Now Gray, who slips and falls. 6 metres out from the try line. Katoa, spiralling past, back into Magulius, now Huma. They've been asking the questions all afternoon on the right. Are they about to pounce on the left here? Brayley goes deep now to Flanagan. Flanagan flat pass away Moratis. Resolute stuff for the Mounties. Now the pass back to Lolo, put the hand out, and Lolo is short on the last play. Brayley, Flanagan showing it now to Kennedy. Oh, he deserves one. He has had the cloak of invincibility on. William Kennedy picks up the third for Newtown.
Well, it's just a weight of possession to the Newtown Jets. And just watch Flanagan here. He was going to actually kick it, then decides to run it, holds up the pass, and the speed and power of Kennedy puts him under the sticks. 18-2, all the Jets.
Here's a man on fire, William Kennedy. The last 4 weeks, he has scored a try in each of those appearances. And now Flanagan to take the Jets out to 18 points to 2. He looks at talent, doesn't he? But there's so much talent in the outside backs for the Cronulla Sharks. How does he find a way in an NRL side, William Kennedy?
Yeah, well, it's going to be tough. He's had a wonderful season for Newtown. He's got his hands all over this game. He's wherever the Mounties are kicking, he is there. He's setting up tries and he's scoring his own as Flanagan comes in to make this 18-2 to go into half-time, and that's a huge first 40 minutes for Newtown.
Another gift for Flanagan, 3 from 3, 18 points to 2.
But that's you just have a look at Flanagan. He didn't really know what option he needed to come up with, but Jack Murchie, the Mounties back rower, he just had to go and tackle him. He just held off, and then Flanagan found the right player. But you go back to the era of Brad Abbey, and unfortunately that's his second of the day, and that's their second try that they've scored off it. So coming back from the NRL with all that experience, you would have assumed he was going to come today to have a big game, and unfortunately he's had 2 errors, but you can always change it because you've got 40 minutes to change it, Joel.
Malachi Huma, crowd favourite. What a surge to start their set off. The first 2 tries, their sets after a try. Look at the Newtown faithful, the Blue Bags. Lolo, haven't they got some size off the bench?
Yeah, well, how good is it that you can bring Magoulis, Lolo and Huma onto the team, and they just look like that they're even getting forward even easier with those 3 out in the field. So wonderful change there from the Newtown Jets to bring the 3 middle forwards onto the field, and they're playing extremely well.
Darting charge out of dummy half. Scooting upfield goes Rennie. 42 away on the last play. Brayley explores a short side, puts it on the kick, another one out on the full.
Yeah, I think that was just a little bit of overplaying there from Brayley. He had Murshke's his left half over there who's been kicking the ball very well. I know it was a quick play of the ball, and a lot of hookers are told get out and try and ask some questions, but he would have been better off just passing that to Murshke. He would have come up with a great kick and put Abbey under pressure, but now the Mounties.
Putting Ryan Carr's coaching cap on here, Are you wanting to see razzle-dazzle? Do you feel if you're coaching Mounties you must score before half-time?
No, I don't think so. I think you just need to keep the scoreline at 18-2. Obviously, you've got to score 3 tries to win it. That can happen in the second 40 minutes. So, but I think if you go down 24-2, half-time's a real tough task. So I think he'll be happy, well, not happy, obviously, but he'll want to go into half-time no worse than this scoreline. And if they can sneak a 4-pointer, well, happy days.
A no-looker from Cornish finds Murchie. So the last play will come 35 metres out from the try line. Duggan short side again to Cornish. He's running it. Does he know it's the last? Another error. This time Abbey. Just things are not happening for Mounties.
Yeah, I just think, Joel, they're going to Cornish a bit too much. I think they need to go to the young redhead in O'Hagan. Every time he's had the ball, and I've watched him over the last couple of months, he's got a great running game and he can put his outside men through some gaps, but there's just too many errors there from the Mounties. 6 errors to the Newtown 3, but yeah, I'd like to see O'Hagan touch the footy, and then he's got Tane Milne, who's played in the World Cup for Fiji. He's played NRL games of football, but that right edge just isn't seen enough football of the Mounties.
As a coach, what's the first metric you're looking for? At half-time when you go down there, we see a mistake here to the Jets. When you get given that stat sheet, what's the very first thing you're looking towards?
Well, I think the first thing you look at is your completion rate, just to see where you are in the game of footy. And
what's the pass mark generally for you in this level?
Well, now that we're at the back end of the season and you're playing finals, you need to be around 80% to finish the game. So if you can be above 80%, well, you're in a good game of footy. And you see the Canberra Raiders, Ricky Stewart here to watch his ISP team go around. He wouldn't be too happy with what he's seeing. Obviously, he would have come today turning up thinking Brad Abbey was going to have a blinder with all his experience. And again, I'd just like to see him swing the ball the other way and give themselves a chance. And Brad Abbey's come up with, I would say, his 4th mistake of the day.
Yeah, he's just hasn't been one of those days. But as you say, it's funny how rugby league operates. Last time they played at Henson Park, they could not control this man. He was way too good for them. Clear man of the match. Yet this afternoon, a month later, it just hasn't gone his way.
Well, I think the other thing, Joel, is it could be a chance for the coach to go, okay, well, I've had Moss and Drecky at fullback for me the last 6 weeks when Abbey's been in first grade. Maybe do I go back to put him at fullback, put Abbey on the wing, just to get him away from the action a little bit and get him to inject himself into the game of footy every now and again, but go back to the team that we've had for the last couple of months. So there'll be some questions asked at half-time, and we'll see what the Mounties come out for the second 40.
Confidence down, that's for sure at the moment. But it only takes one play to get him back, and here comes a nice little play. Low to Hoomer. The forwards combining nicely. Don't they love Malachi Hoomer, the faithful of the Blue Bags? Lolo, good tackle from Murchie. Well, that's the sort of stuff they need. The youngster provides it. Nakora got away from Lawani. The Jets, they've got 10 seconds to add to the scoreline. Do they think about field goal possibly? Flanagan puts the kick through. He's looking back for Kennedy. Oh, Satini, he dives upon it. The heart rate was up against for Ryan Carr. That'll be it for half-time. It was a slow first 10 minutes for the Newtown Jets, but a powerful last half an hour. The Jets 18 lead Mounties 2. Wow, what a whirlwind first half for the Jets.
Newtown is coming, hear the Blue Bags humming, Newtown.
Daycorp is a well-respected development and construction company that is committed to excellence in everything that we do.
When Daycorp started in 1999, our first project was actually in Albert Street, Newtown. So when we came up with the name Daycorp and we're looking for a colour or something, and obviously being in Newtown, the blue and white, the Daycorp blue and white came from Newtown Jets blue and white. We had an office at Petersham, so we did a fair bit of work around Newtown, Marrickville, St Peters, but the Daycorp connection was truly because of the amount of work we did in the Marrickville municipality at that time. And that's our colours, Newtown Jet colours.
Over the past 20 years, we have earned a reputation for delivering outstanding projects in great locations all across Sydney. With our ongoing sponsorship of the Newtown Jets, Daycorp continues to be a strong part of our community. This year, Daycorp has started work on another great project in Petersham. The siding is an exciting new development that will provide a vibrant new home for the Petersham RSL Club and its members, as well as 357 new stylish residential apartments. This great project is just another great example of Daycorp's commitment to strengthening communities and delivering beautiful homes in great locations.
Let's keep the Jets flying!
Daycorp is a proud sponsor of the Newtown Rugby League Football Club, and they're on board to help keep the Jets flying in 2020. Support those who support the Jets.
Wonderful stuff, and Jamie Soward is down there right now with William Kennedy.
Yeah, thanks, Joel. Down here with Will. Fantastic first half, into a win, 18-2. You've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, very happy. Just main thing, we've got to complete sets and just play footy and look up.
Looking forward to the second half with this win behind you?
Yeah, very looking forward to it. Hopefully get a couple more points and just complete.
No worries, good luck.
Cheers, thank you.
All about the completion, says Kennedy. Half-time it is, 18 points to 2. Stay with us right here on the Wild World of Sports. This elimination final continues, the Jets and the Mounties. Who goes to the prelim finals? That's the big question. Who goes to the prelim finals as far as the Intra-Super Premiership is concerned? It's elimination time here. So far, so good, so very good for the Newtown Jets.
Yeah, slow start. They conceded 2 points early on, but after that, it's been all Newtown Jets in tricky conditions this afternoon. It's very windy down here at ground level, but it's been all the Newtown Jets, Kyle Flanagan, Brake Brayley, and then Will Kennedy as well.
Here's the stats page and some crucial numbers here. Most importantly, the score at 18 points to 2. But as we look towards the stats page, what were the things that grabbed your attention? I know you like to focus on the completion rates, Matthew here.
Yeah, well, you want to have a look at your completion rates because then that works out how much you've had the ball against the opposition. So there's just been too much football to the Newtown Jets with 59% of the ball. But the Mounties, unfortunately, their fullback, Brad Abbey, hasn't had the greatest of days. He's come up with a couple of errors which have led exactly to tries. But and then also the tackles. Look at the Mounties tackles, 170 compared to the Newtown Jets 126. So it's been a hard 40 minutes for the Mounties.
First 10 minutes, you could argue, belong to the Mounties. We see the highlights here. It was an early penalty kick. They took the 2. I wonder whether now in hindsight they wish they may have marched on for a try. It's 2020 looking back, that's for sure. When they got their chance, the Newtown Jets, they're just devastating on this right edge.
Yeah, well, this came off the back of Kyle Flanagan kicking early in that 7-tackle set. He chased really hard. Abbey made the first of his knock-on for the first half, and then it was just Kogarah on an edge there, too easy. That was just soft defence. This one right here, smart play from Brayley. We've seen it do it so many times. Magoulias, that was his first touch. 12-2, all the Newtown Jets, Matthew Head.
Yeah, it was, and the spine of the Newtown have taken control of this game, and any error that the Mounties have come up with, Newtown have been able to capitalise and score the points. You have a look at Flanagan here, just has plenty of time with the ball. Kennedy just straight up the middle of the ruck and scores another 4-pointer, which gives them a half-time lead of 18 points to 2.
And Flanagan has just pulled all the strings in this first half. You spoke about Brad Abbey's mistakes, but it's been the lack of kicking game from the Mounties as well. I know they put a few out in the full, but you can see there, Kennedy, Magoulias, Kogarah all scored tries in the first half. Flanagan 3 from 3. Modern Drecky, that penalty goal. It's just all the Newtown Jets, and you've got a feeling that it's going to be a big score.
Yeah, they're in the groove. There's no doubt about that. 18 points to 2. That's the half-time scoreline. Stay with us right here on the Wild World of Sports. A massive day of rugby league. We've got a big second half coming up here in the Intra-Super Premiership Elimination Final. Can the Mounties get off the canvas against the Newtown Jets? Back to Jubilee Oval we come. 18 points to 2. That's the team in front, the team on screen, the Newtown Jets. Texting their mates, no doubt, saying things are good here. 18 points to 2, but there's a long, long way to go. A big second half. We've seen it so many times, haven't we, where a team has had a major lead conceded, but they've raced upon them. Here come Mounties. Is this their last 40 minutes of the season?
Well, if they are
something up their sleeve.
Sorry, Joel, if they are to change that, that man on screen has to get heavily involved. Pretty ordinary first half by his standards. He'll be looking to be involved. I think you give him 5-10 minutes and you just move into 5-8. You throw all your eggs in one basket. I know Matthew Head wanted their bench probably to have one crack at him, but that was when it was 12-2. It's 18-2 now. They need to play some big minutes, get their best team out there. I reckon you pull the trigger with about 25 to go. And hasn't he had a first half, Kyle Flanagan?
Well, he turned the game, didn't he? That kick and the chase and got the ball back. And since then, it has been one-way traffic on the back of this young fellow Flanagan. And a big night tonight as well. I suppose if you think about this, and you often see this, here he is playing, you can see the empty seats behind him here, but he's only one injury away from playing in a major game in the NRL.
Yeah, he is, and all these guys being feeder clubs to the NRL. I mean, big game tomorrow if the Dragons are to win. Yeah, it probably hurts Matty Head's chances next week as they'll probably want some cover, but you're always one injury away from getting your opportunity. And as we get ready for this second half, Mounties need to start fast.
Little shallow kick really from Orfunga Tumunga, fielded well by Cornish, the halfback, who takes it upon himself, and driving defence from Britton Nakora. The last time the Jets won the grand final, Daniel Tupou, he played in that game. Mortimer as well, Mossy Massoy, and of course we know what happened the following year. They backed it up with an NRL premiership. As Duggan from dummy half goes to Luani. There's a bit of a bustling charge from Joel. 16 points in the rearview mirror here, Mounties. What does Ryan Carr come up with at halftime? Emre Gula. They need to look, oh, that's exactly what they needed. They had that in the first half, a piggyback late in the set. They couldn't convert it into a try. Can they change their fortune this time?
Yeah, and I heard Matty Head just going down to half-time. That man with the ball needs to get his hands on it a lot more. Cornish has had his chance to come up with some points and repeat sets. He hasn't been able to do it in the first half. You've got to get O'Hagan and Abbey involved.
Yeah, well, you certainly do, and you've got to get them involved early. It's a scoreline that the Mounties wouldn't be extremely happy with, but it's a scoreline that can take a lot of pressure off you in this last 40 minutes, and they've just got to throw the ball around and have a real red-hot crack, and then that will put Newtown's defence under a hell of a lot of pressure.
Inside the 30, Luani, flat pass away to Mitch Carlane, and he's through and through Mounties man. He did spend some time in Halifax, plays it 20 metres away now. Luani, first receiver, goes back O'Hagan. O'Hagan double pumps. Tane Milne comes in field. 10 metres out from the try line. Duggan to Luani. Gee, they could ask a question here, couldn't they, Mounties, if they score early in the second half? Last tackle, says Todd Smith. Duggan sends a missile away to Cornish, puts a kick through, and Katoa is there, and there he goes. He was on the in goal, and here comes Katoa. Abbey is chasing. It's Abbey and Katoa. Sione Katoa. Oh, Abbey's done well. He's rounded up Katoa, not enough to tackle him, but to take him away. He's still going, Katoa, and he's taken down. What about the chase from Brad Abbey? I had no idea it was that quick. You thought Katoa was gone. A point still comes. Oh! Tackle from Tane Milne. Albeit illegally. Offside, said the referee, Smith.
Wow, you could see that happening. It was just long pass to long pass. And Flanagan, whack. Get that in here from Tane Milne. I thought he was okay.
Well, he would have had to have been.
I think so, Hetty. I think he's onside. It's the referee, the pocket referee, who's called him offside. So he would have got a call from the touch judge. But as we see, they're going to extend it to 18 points, the Newtown Jets.
18 points to 2. And it's almost as though they're taking the 2 here with scant regard of the scoreline. It's almost to take a bit of steam out of this match, so to speak.
Yeah, well, it's definitely the reason why you're doing it. You're going up to take a lead by 18 points, so you definitely can't get beat in the 80 minutes of the game. So I reckon he's exactly that. Tane Milne has tried to put a big hit on to get his team pumped up. But again, Sowie, Cornish's kicking game, 5th tackle, putting too much pressure on his own team by his little grubbers going straight to the opposition.
Yeah, well, you can see here, he just falls away and drops it on. And with two big wingers, you'd think there, you see Katoa. He's getting ready to put it under the sticks, but Abbey just kept staying at it, and that could be the play that gets Brad Abbey into this game. Just competing right to the end. Ricky Stewart, who's here in the crowd, would be very happy seeing that from his NRL standard fullback. Wouldn't be surprised if Sticky went over to him at half-time, pulled him aside and said, hey, you know, you've been in the NRL squad, as Flanagan will throw this over, and just said, what you've put up that first half is not NRL standard.
Kyle Flanagan, right boot strikes at 20 points to 2.
Yeah, well, the other good thing, boys, the game's only been going for 4 minutes, but Ryan Carr's gone back to his bench. He's going back to Hunt and Knight. If we're any chance of winning the game, he's thinking, we need to get back into it right now. There's no use holding blokes on the bench and thinking, we'll get them at the back end of the game. You've got to get them right now, otherwise you won't get them.
You make a good point, Matthew Head. So often the coaches will have a script, so to speak, or a rundown as to how they make their interchanges, but here's a prime example where that goes out the window.
It certainly does. You definitely have a little situation on how you want your bench to go, so you can make sure that you do them all at the right time. But right now, if you're going to lose the game of footy, you'd rather lose at the 65th minute because you've had a crack, not just holding your men. So I like how he's gone to his bench early.
I'm surprised they haven't unleashed Sebastian Chris yet. There's a bit of talk around him being a Kotrick type of player, a real powerhouse. He's only a youngster, but he's got the curly hair. He's still on the bench. Is Sebastian Chris. Player down in back play. I think it's Emre Gula. So short side Kennedy.
Oh, needed to pass.
Yeah, you could see the hands of Rennie went up as if to say, you could have hit me, William. Brayley goes quickly from the left side to the right, Lolo. And offload late back to Hermer. He's liking the passing to Hermer, isn't he, Lolo? Maybe that's why I got away from one. Hermer looks out the back. And Hermer, he was desperate to get the pass away, but now it's been stopped because Emre Gula, way down the field, is being tended to.
Well, if he's going to stop it now, why didn't he stop it 4 plays ago? If you could see, the trainer's been waving to him to stop it. Hopefully Emre Gula's okay, but
he's 50 metres downfield.
Well, you lose all momentum. You lose all momentum.
Well, he's holding his pec. It looks like he's may have strained or torn his pec as he goes into the tackle here. But again, see there where he just holds it. He's felt something that, I know we've got player welfare to go into it, but when it's not a serious injury as in head knock or any of those kind of things, it just takes all the oomph out of the game. And Newtown deserved to be on the front foot. He was 11 metres from the far sideline. Why didn't we just take him off? If we knew he tore his pec, just take him off the field and let the game flow.
So he's jogging off here, Emre Gula. I know you were keen to get Royce Hunt back on the field, but clearly not at the expense of this bloke.
No, definitely not. Again, another player that's had the NRL experience of late, but Royce Hunt's one of those type of forwards for the Mounties that gives his all. He's their captain, and they need him out there firing.
This dangerous right edge again, they go. Kennedy, his recovering kick looking for Katoa. Cornish dives upon it, so they're hanging on by a thread here. Mounties. Just under 35 remaining. Satini. After what was they were the benchmark for the most part of the year. Mounties. And they've lost 7 of their last 9. This is great defence from the Jets. Ball comes loose out the back. And they're winning in defence here, the Jets.
Well, it's just a fatigue mistake. You can see Mounties now. This is it. Newtown looking to put this game to bed, even with 33 minutes to go. They're just more energetic, getting off their line defensively, winning the little battles, running harder. And you spoke about Mounties, 7 of their last 9. That you take Craig Garvey out, who was probably the best player in this competition up until that point. Ravalawa. Those 2 guys, and you lose. That's your 7 from 9 there. I mean, they've been on the skids. You can't tell me Craig Garvey today wouldn't have relished this challenge going up against Brayley. And they said Newtown, split either side, look to go to Kennedy.
They do go to Kennedy on the right edge. He's got pace, Kennedy. Got it to Gray. It was a pace from Kennedy, who got the field position for Gray. And Sione Katoa picks up the 4th try for Newtown.
Just watch this pure pace from Will Kennedy on the outside there. Little trick play, Flanagan. Beautiful pass, little goosey, bang, and then the hand from Gray out in front. Katoa scores a try. He knows how to score them. It's all the Jets.
Sione Katoa, like Kennedy, he's a man on a mission. He's a man in form. That's his 4th try in the past 3 games. Sione Katoa, top try scorer last year in the 20s. And the top point scorer last year in the 20s will have a chance to convert. 24 points to 2.
Do we give some credit to our statistician who wrote that out pre-game?
Malcolm
that he was
Milton.
going to score a try?
Yeah.
That was a pre-set card, knowing that Sione Katoa was going to score this afternoon.
Well, they're on their way. Very different looking team today to the team that fell short against Matthew Head's St George Illawarra Dragons.
Doesn't that set up a mouth-watering clash next week against Penrith?
I know there's a fair way to go here, Matty Head, but what's your mindset in these scenarios? So if we look ahead 10 minutes, for example, and if they're still coasting along the Jets, what's your mentality as the coach as far as resting players?
Yeah, well, as Flanagan's about to come into the goal from touch, yeah, I'm certainly looking at when I can rest my 1 or 2 most important players in my team, and one of them would be this halfback who's coming in to kick from the sideline, who strikes it well.
5 from 5 for Flanagan. He is seeing them like beach balls. So, 26 points to 2.
Yeah, well, the big thing with the scrum, you have a look at the Mounties and they had Liam Knight out of the scrum. Kennedy's just always going to get around him for speed. Brings in Murphy and it's a quick 3-on-2. They set up nicely and they score a beautiful try, Newtown, and you'd think that the game's well and truly over now.
Here comes Lolo. And I know Jamie will see this game this evening on Channel 9, Roosters and the Sharks. Well, the Jets, once upon a time, were the feeder club for the Roosters. But when you're seeing players like Katoa and Kennedy and all these young stars playing so well, it just shows the depth of the club at Cronulla.
Certainly. And those guys have been able to play first grade this year. Flanagan and Katoa. Dylan as well has made an appearance. So they've got some really, really good depth. And that's why they've been able to be strong in both grades.
Kennedy, that once again, Tane Milne.
And
the missile Milne. You'd almost want to throw him in the back row for 5 minutes, wouldn't you, Tane, as Abbey. Oh, that was a towering bomb, well taken from Abbey. If there's any chance back, it needs to be on the shoulders of this young man. O'Hagan dummy half. Satini comes in to give the forwards a bit of a spell, and he meanders past the 30. Duggan looking for a penalty, wasn't forthcoming. Horsburgh creeps towards the halfway line, 8 metres short. Duggan continues to the open side. Knight links up with Murchie. And Murchie into the half now of the Newtown Jets.
don't forget you take Sam Williams out of this side as well. The kicking game's been evident. He's been doing good things as Mountie shifted this right. Here's Milne.
Yeah, Milne, and Milne, the offload, right idea, but poor execution. And they are just sensing victory here, the Newtown Jets.
Well, they have to try and come up with everything to overturn this deficit. Milne skips to the outside there. Nice little flick pass. Unfortunately, just goes behind Mothindrecki. And they turn over possession.
Tomorrow, you'll wrap up all the finals action in both the codes, really. AFL, Rugby League. It's Sports Sunday. James Bracey hosts. Former Australian netball stars Liz Ellis and Shani Layton will be there. Paul Gallen. What a big show. Richard Freeman and Sam Groff. That's Sunday morning, tomorrow from 10 a.m. Sports Sunday. Which teams are they talking about in the NRL? Who's through to the prelim final? Is it the Roosters? Is it the Sharks? Which team still has a pulse? The Warriors or the Panthers? I know you think it's the Warriors, Jamie.
Yeah, I just think, I've changed my tip about 5 or 6 times this week. I think I've tipped Penrith a couple of times in a couple of tipper comps. Here's Kennedy again, skips to the outside.
Here's trouble. Bessie Orfunga Tumunga puts the kick through. Abbey gets a hand at it, sends it dead, takes the medicine.
Well, I've played 12 years of first grade. Matty, you played a lot of first grade as well. I don't think I've ever seen a time where wingers have gotten so good at this little skill level here of being able to kick back towards chasers, back towards the middle of the field. Josh Addo-Carr last night, fantastic play. It's an amazing skill to have.
Yeah, well, it certainly is. They've got the art of being able to dive and touch the corner post and still score tries. And now you do see it as well. Their kicking game's really good. So, and they probably do a lot of work into it too, Sowie, don't they? They catch a lot of balls from their halves who are kicking to him. So they do all the tricky kicks back to the halves to put their kicks in. But that was a wonderful kick last night from Addo-Carr. What great skill was that, to kick it on the outside of his foot.
And the kick for Croft of Vunivalu as well. Boomer. Big turning point of the match, wasn't that? As the Newtown Jets, they could put this one to bed. They can tuck the Mounties in. Flanagan goes across to Magulius. Grassing tackle made by Royce Hunt. Brayley, Horsburgh raced up, slick hands away to Lolo. Lolo heading for the try line. Lolo gets there, and the Jets have got a date with the Panthers at Leichhardt Oval next week.
What an impact Wesley Lolo has had this afternoon since coming on. Slick hands here from Flanagan that gets some pressure, and Lolo gets rid of one, gets rid of two, and just puts it right next to the post. And you're right, Joel, they'll play the Panthers next week. Too good this afternoon, the Jets.
30 points to 2, and the team who scored the most tries in the Intra-Super Premiership this year make it number 5 through this man, Wes Lolo. The impact he's had off the bench, he's become a bit of a try-scoring superstar, Wes Lolo.
He has, hasn't he? Scoring a try in the last couple of weeks. You feel like it's going to be party time for the Newtown Jets now. This could be anything. Unfortunately for the Mounties, their season got away from them. A great win last week against the Warriors as Flanagan will throw this over, 6 from 6. And is now the time, Hetty, that you pull Flanagan and maybe Brayley from the field?
Yeah, well, certainly I'll probably look at getting Brayley off the field as Flanagan knocks it over and they go up 32 points to 2. I don't know who. It's all about what you've got at the next level below you and how you're going to be able to solve the problem if you were to get an injury in these next 24 minutes. And you have a look at the replay and it's just Wes Lolo. He just wants to score the try more than the Mounties want to stop him at the moment. But I know over the season I have seen plenty of times where Brayley has been brought off in the last 5 to 10 minutes. So that means the coach obviously thinks highly of him as Mounties kick that out in the full. I know you've got to do something to try and get back in the game, but I think with 23 minutes to go and you're 32 points to 2 down, I think it's pretty much over. I'd be instructing to kick long and try and give a little bit into our defence, maybe lose the game 32 points to 14, something like that. But when you do those little trick plays, the game can just get away from you and you're every chance of being beat by 50 now.
And you see the heads drop as soon as it goes out, so you feel that after that run there, 15 metres, it's going to be Newtown scoring very, very shortly.
Just repeating, I mentioned I ran into Johnny Trad, the man who rides the penny farthing at Henson Park. He said 8 tries today for the Jets. He's got 3 to go. You can't write him off. Hoomer. And Malachi Hoomer. 12 metres out from the try line. The Jets chasing their 6th. Magulius. Now to Flanagan. Flanagan, Kennedy. Kennedy away to Gray. Wrapped up by Murphy and also Satini. Can they possibly hold on here, Mounties? Kogarah to Lolo. He's got the try fever. Wes. And this time stamped to the ground 5 metres short of the try line. Brayley surveying his options. Goes back to the short side. Flanagan, is this too big? Yes, back to the 20, march to the Mounties.
It's probably the only bad kick Flanagan's had all afternoon. Sometimes found it easier as a half to just roll on the side that you just come from rather than try and go back when they're not really set. Makatoa was hands on hips out here, standing at the post, and they go the other side. Try and get Marsky involved, especially when the game's already won. Try and get some of those guys a little bit of confidence for next week. Just pull back a little bit. Here's Moth and Dreckie being very quiet.
Penrith will play the Newtown Jets next week. How do you see that game? Matty, head flip of the coin. Are you leaning to Penrith? Is it They've been the benchmark. They had the minor premiership wrapped up very early, Penrith.
Yeah, they did, and they didn't have a lot to play for at the back end of the season, but they still found a way to keep winning games.
Who's been the key for them?
Oh, they've just been collective as a team. They have changed their team a number of times throughout the season, but I think the biggest thing for Penrith, if they needed a break, then obviously the break would have been good for them. They'll have to see how their first grade team plays tonight, and if they win, they're still in the competition. If they lose, they might get some players back, but this is a wonderful, as we see Cornish having a little dart himself, but this is wonderful for Newtown Jets. They get to play footy if they can get away with the year with no injuries. Now they're starting to get some try line D to help them for next week, and they've had a great training run, as you see today. So obviously you don't want to play because you're every chance of getting beat on the week off, but if you can have this type of football, they're just building some confidence. Brayley, Flanagan, Kennedy has hit some form. So yeah, it's going to be a toss of the coin next week.
You guys play the winner of Bulldogs and Wyong Roos. Who do you think you match up better against? I know you'll say you're comfortable playing anyone, but who probably don't you want to see win?
Well, obviously, I don't want to comment too much on that because whoever I choose, then it's going to be the opposite. But we've had a 1-point victory against the Dogs in both occasions, so we match up both teams very good. We've both got great forward packs and a good back line, so that will be a great contest. And as we see Brad Abbey with the football now trying to score a try, and with Wyong, we're 1-1, we're 1 win each. So I think both teams we match up extremely well against on both occasions. They would be happy to play us as well. So it's going to be a huge contest.
Duggan goes short side to Cornish over the top, and they do get a consolation. They get a consolation try through Satini. 32 points to 6, and they'll rush this kick. 20 minutes to go. Stranger things have happened, Jamie Soward.
Yeah, they have. It was just down the short side. They're just persistent. Short on numbers. Cornish goes down there and question mark over the pass. But they get a consolation try, the Mounties.
Satini scores the try. 32 points to 6. And this will be one of the quickest kicks you've ever seen from Mothendrecki.
Nice play there from Tyler Tom Brady Cornish.
It was a bit about that. Jamie, what about Billy Slater last night? How good was that?
That was unbelievable, and shows and confirms that he's as Mothendrecki moves in to strike this. Oh, and nice kick.
It's a nice kick. Beautiful kick from Mothendrecki. 32, plays 8.
Well, how good it be to retire and be still playing as good as Billy Slater? He's got 2 years left in him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not just one, and he's leaving us.
Here comes the wrecking ball. Addison Demetrio. He will impact the scoreline, won't he, Jamie?
He will. He'll either give away a penalty to concede a try, or he'll score a double.
But with him on, we know it will not be 32-8 in the next 5 minutes.
No, it won't.
Addison Demetrio.
And that's the good thing with the scoreline. Addison's going to go at left back row, so they're bringing off.
Where's Lolo? What a hand he had.
They're bringing off Moraidis to put Addison at left back row, so now you get to have a little bit of practice if something goes wrong next week. So yeah, they've come up with a good afternoon today, Newtown.
Got a good afternoon tomorrow. It starts in the morning, 11 o'clock, the footy show. Looking forward to that. But they've just taken off Moraidis, they've taken off Malachi Huma, they've taken off Wes Lolo. It's been a terrific hand from those benchies. 32 points to 8. We are officially down to 5 in this premiership. Panthers are defending champions. Horsburgh circles back. Offload, he looks at talent. Horsburgh goes back to Duggan. Duggan offload. This is hot potato razzle-dazzle time. Makatoa.
And from a Mounties point of view, Joel, you never want to give up. So they'll still be trying everything they can. And you probably have a look at the scoreboard and how long is to go. And I think if the Mounties can get 2 tries, as there's a beautiful pass there to Horsburgh, they can get 2 tries with 8 minutes to go and you're down by 12 points with 8 minutes to go. You never know what can happen. So the Mounties still have to have a, as they knock it on now, giving themselves a chance. But you've got a 10-minute period now where you try and score 2 tries. And then you try and put a lot of pressure on Newtown. So you score 2 converted tries, you're down by 12 with 8 minutes to go, you're a slim hope, but everything's got to go right
Well,
for
I'll tell you, knows all about that. Jesse Marshke, remember the grand final of the 20s a couple of years ago? Penrith were lapping the Roosters, and off they came, a memorable victory. So he's a man who would be just a little bit keeping an eye on that scoreboard, I'd imagine, with that lead of 32 points to 8.
He spoke about Penrith. I think when you go through these teams, the ISP teams, you look at some of the key players. You look at Flanagan, Brayley. The Dragons have got Nichols, guys that have been at first grade standards. Here's Demetrio's first carry, 15 metres, thank you. But
double header here, by the way, too, Matty Head. Tomorrow, ahead of your game in the NRL, Broncos and the Dragons, the women's NRL. Joe Barrett, Ruan and Alana, all former Gillaroos. Peter Basolis and Gus in commentary. So that'll be a big match at 1:30 before your big match against the Broncos in the NRL.
Yeah, and you have a look at all the comments and the preview of that game, and it's pretty much like our NRL boys. They give us no hope. They give the women's team no hope of beating the Broncos. They say it's all Roosters, then Brisbane, and Dragons and Warriors are making up the numbers. Well, they have trained extremely well, the women's team, from all reports, and they'll be going up there. How good to play your first game at Suncorp Stadium in a double header. They'll be that excited, and I give our women's chance a red-hot chance.
I've got 2 daughters, 2 sons and 2 daughters, and they are just loving this concept of the women's NRL. So many opportunities now in the women in sport, so well done there. As O'Hagan got away from Rennie, and Demetrio makes the tackle with Dillon.
yeah, and back to my point about Penrith, they've got a real team effort. They never have one guy that has to be on for them to win. I think the other teams have shown that they've probably got more quality in and around their positions, in halfback and probably in the hooking role. I mean, Wade Egan's been in good form, but in terms of the Penrith Panthers, they've been a real concerted team effort. Here's Liam Knight.
Oh, there's the step from Knight. Knight, he gets 32 metres away. Makahesi Makatoa, well, they could score one here. It makes it interesting. Back it comes to Milne, to Abbey. Long cut-out pass now to Cornish. Cornish got him on the back foot.
Oh, got a pass.
And he's trapped 8 metres out. They've got to score here. Any chance they must score here, Mounties. Abbey, Duggan, long pass to O'Hagan, who links up with Knight, who had the initial bust. He may also be the one to score the try. No. 2 metres short of the try line now, last play. This is it. They've got to score. It goes to Duggan. Duggan dives over, but desperate defence for the Jets. It looked as though he was heading for a 4-pointer. But Kennedy and Magoulias deny him. Well,
when you're chasing points in any game, everything needs to go right. Everything needs to go to hand. Tyler Cornish needed to pass that ball. They had 3-on-1 overlap, and then right there, Duggan. Brayley, a poor miss. Reed there doesn't come up with a tackle, but that needed to go left. They needed to have Abbey with his hands on the ball as Gray gets some attention.
Still yet to see Sebastian Chris, which surprises a little. He's an attacking weapon. They're down 32 points to 8, and the youngster yet to be seen on Jubilee Oval. In the field proper anyway, as we see Katoa. What an important cog in the wheel is Sione Katoa. See him and eye back into the contest.
I think the key for the Dragons tomorrow against the Broncos, if they can start fast and be that 6-0, maybe 8-0. I mean, if they go up 2, it's probably not going to get them across the line against the Brisbane Broncos side, that mentality. I understand in a finals game, but if you can build pressure early on and come away with points, you go a long way to upsetting what Brisbane have been able to do. They've been younger, hungrier, more energetic than the teams have been playing recently, and they've scored heaps of points. So big chance for the Dragons to go up, start fast, and try and upset the apple cart. Try and get the fans on top of the Brisbane Broncos side rather than letting them have it their own way, where Tavita Pengai Jr., Offen Gowie, Milford sniffing around getting offloads early on in the game.
Speaking of that game, it is tomorrow. It's the elimination final. Broncos versus the Dragons at 3 p.m. live on 9. Phil Gould, Andrew Johns, Darren Lockyer, Wally Lewis, Ruan Sims, Matt Thompson, a huge crew there, host James Brosey. And we've got the Broncos taking on the Dragons at Suncorp Stadium. How's the week been, Matty Head? Do you feel, is there an air of confidence? Is there an air of the pressure is off? We've got nothing to lose here.
Well, Joel, to be honest, it's been business as usual. They finished 1 win away from first position. Top 4. They've been in the top 4 for a long period of the season, and no one gives them a chance. How good going into finals football at Suncorp Stadium when it's only the outside that don't give our team a chance. It's no one inside. We know how good of a football team we have. Obviously, we've got Gaz Widdett back into the team this weekend. Paul Vaughan's a huge loss for us, but no one gives us a chance, and we get to go to Brisbane knowing if we put our best foot forward, we're in the game. We're in the game. It's only the outside that gives us no hope, and that's where you want to be as a football team.
O'Hagan back in field to Abbey, and I suppose it's a little ironic we're here at Jubilee Oval, which was the very first game of the premiership this year where the Dragons a dominant victory over the Broncos.
Yeah, well, the boys had a sensational pre-season, and they come into the NRL season ready to go, and that's certainly what we did that night. But you've got to give credit to Brisbane as well. They are a wonderful football team, and that's why a lot of people don't give our team a chance because of Wayne Bennett and what the Broncos have done that last 3 or 4 weeks. But our team haven't done much wrong all season, bar have a couple of losses at the wrong part of the season. But as everyone says, it's a new start to the season. Everyone starts on 0 points. If you win, you're there next week. If you lose, you're out. So we're ready to go, and the boys are excited.
What's the key to the Broncos? What's their main strengths are you seeing?
Well, they just try and tie you down, don't they? Wayne Bennett coach teams like to kick long, and they like to rip in on their line speed and force you into errors and make you under the pressure. So as Howie said, if the boys can start well and get some points on the board, well, then the Broncos have to play a different style. So we've got 80 minutes. Let's see how we go.
Well, then Drek here. So Flanagan's still on the field. We note that. 32 points to 8. There's 11 minutes remaining in this elimination final. Winner to play the Panthers next week at Leichhardt.
Whenever you play a Broncos side or a Wayne Bennett coach side, you want to try and out-compete them in all the little areas. They try and get up, and if it's a race to the corner post, they'll have 5 guys coming to the corner post. They'll loose ball. I mean, we saw Milford and Nicarima. They get themselves into the game. The Broncos look a whole lot more dangerous. But times throughout the year, if the Dragons are to win, you take Milford, you take Nicarima out of the game by just absolutely bashing their pack, kicking down, making them attack off their own line. And they haven't proven that they are an elite halves group this year. They've had times where their game management, I've questioned their game management for 3/4 of the year. It's just been the last 5 weeks that's made them look so dangerous off the back of good performances, and obviously playing in front of 50,000 as we see that kick go to the full.
Gee, Abbey would love to have this game back again, wouldn't he?
Unfortunately, yes, he would, but you play in front of 50,000, it's easier to get up for that. You know, they've come down here to Sydney, have played the Roosters. That was probably their marquee win the last month, and that's why, you know, outsiders like myself probably don't give the Dragons as much a chance as what inside the group would give.
Well, the other thing with Brad Abbey, and that's why a lot of elite sports people talk about preparation being the key. Now, Brad Abbey's been in the NRL squad for the last couple of weeks. We don't know how he started his week, Joel. I know the NRL boys would have had their little drink at the start of the week. Did Brad Abbey go to that with them? Yeah. Things like that. So you'd never know how people come into a game, but I wouldn't think his preparation would have been as good as it has been in the last 5 or 6 weeks, and preparation goes a long way to playing well.
Flat pass, forward pass to RVC Manafenai.
Yeah, I agree, Matty Head. It's also dangerous, isn't it? I mean, he spent most of the year in Mounties and probably, you know, gets a sniff of first grade towards the back end of the year, wants to hang out with the big boys and celebrate, and that preparation can be thrown into jeopardy. You only have to look at the Bulldogs. Those guys, Remus Smith, Lewis, probably all qualified for the ISP. I don't know whether we'll see them, but
well, that's the thing.
Can't imagine their preparation would be any good playing Y on tomorrow night.
Well, they have to. Those who have been in the press this week, they need to produce a massive game tomorrow for their team, don't they?
They need to win.
They need to win. They need to win, and the winner will take on Matthew Head's St George Illawarra Dragons. What have the boys done? Did you have a week off, or business as usual, or captain's run today, or how did you treat the week?
Well, obviously when we got notified that we're going to play next Saturday, we needed to work out what our week was going to be next week, and so we sorted that out, and then it all depended on what our this week would be. So my biggest thing was I wanted to give the boys 2 days off, so they got Saturday, Sunday off. We had a real good, hard session last night and finished that with a barbecue, and now the boys get away from footy and enjoy it. I'm sure a few of them will probably watch tomorrow night's game, and then when we get to work on Monday, we're ready to go. So we've had a good week. We've got no injuries out of the weekend, so that's a huge positive.
18 metres away, Mounties. Royce Hunt, who's had a brilliant year. It'd be nice to see him finish off with a try. Royce, he's charging for the line, is Hunt. But he poked his nose over the try line before being jutted back, and here's Dillon and Hunt.
Royce, you got the penalty, Royce.
So the last thing
Royce, you got the
Greg
penalty.
Madison, the coach, needs is this kind of situation. Just on the Dragons, if things don't go your way in the NRL tomorrow, bit of heat here still, do you have any players? I suppose Jordan Pereira, he would qualify for the ISP, is that right?
Yeah, he would, yeah. Oh, there'd be a couple that qualify, Joel, but as I said to you before the game, we were in work this week and we had to do a job for our first grade squad. We had to prepare them the best we could to make sure that they're ready to go. And as I said, inside our walls, we don't think that we can't win tomorrow. So we haven't thought too much about it. Those kind of things we've got plenty of time to sort out next week if things don't go away. But as I said, as the coaching staff and players, everyone's confident that we can go up there and play well. And if we do that, we can win.
So time out here, Kennedy. Well, this is the last thing. You're hoping it's just a cramp situation here for Kennedy, who's just had a terrific match. He has been very hard to handle for Mounties, and he's an important piece in this Jets puzzle over the next week, perhaps next fortnight for them.
Well, he was the difference, wasn't he, in that first 40 minutes, I thought. Everywhere he needed to be, he was. Everything he had to do, he did, and he came up with a nice try assist and a great try. So I think in the difference of the game has probably been in the fullbacks, unfortunately, for the Mounties, and Kennedy's been outstanding today.
The impossible assignment, 4 converted tries is what they need in 7.5 minutes as Milne, he's gathered 5 metres out from the try line. Modern Drecker, the dummy half. Long pass back into O'Hagan, who drops the pass off to Luani, and Luani gathered up by no fewer than 4 Jets players are there on the scene, and 5 metres short of the try line. They're all signs pointing to the left here. O'Hagan strolls across the 10-metre line. Cornish goes deep to Abbey. Abbey to Murphy. Murphy offloads it out the back. Hot potato stuff here. Cornish gallops inside the 10 now. Tane Milne stopped 6 metres away. Good defence from Jesse Marshke. Duggan, O'Hagan, flat pass to Makahesi Makator. A deserved try for the back rower. 32 points to 12, kick to come Mounties.
Yeah, well, it's just going to give Newtown a massive rap, and their coach would be extremely happy with their try line defence, because that right edge did a wonderful job to stop the Mounties from scoring. But then they come back over to the left-hand side of the Newtown defence, and it's just a simple play from the Mounties. Just have a look at Ruben Rennie, the number 4 for Newtown. He just goes out before the pass has been given, and any good half O'Hagan should be able to look up and see that he's got an option to hit short, as he does there, and he puts his Mounties back row over the line, and Muzendrecki misses the goal. So with 5.5 minutes to go, the Mounties are down by 20, Joel.
Yeah, it's impossible now. He needed to kick that goal. Muzendrecki, he missed it, pushed it to the left, and he hurried the kick, hence why you missed it. He was in such a rush to move on with it, but he misses the kick. 32 points to 12, 5 minutes remaining. And it looks 100%. They're on their way to the prelims, and 100% footy continues. On Monday night at 10:45 p.m. on Channel 9, 100% footy is the home of the strongest opinions in rugby league from the people who count. Phil Gould returns with Paul Gallen, alongside Gillaroos captain Duran Sims, journalist Neil Breen, and James Bracey will also be there. Paul comes back with the Jets. Of course, they'll be talking about all the action out of week 1 of the finals in the NRL. This is week 2 of the Intrust Super Premiership of the finals. Flanagan still on the field, Kogarah. So it looks as though he's in for the full stint here, Flanagan. Gray is at dummy half. Kogarah slow play the ball. Flanagan now goes to Dillon to Marshke to Demetrio. There he goes, the wrecking ball. Runs into Luani and Knight and plays it 5 metres out. And Coach Head, you take the 2 here, I assume.
Well, yeah, you do. And Coach from Newtown's got his hand up down there on the sideline, take the 2. I think the biggest reason you take the 2 now is because they're starting to get a bit of heated in the game of footy, and you just don't need one of your players doing something silly and making a miss next week by being suspended. So, yep, best way to do it, take a minute off the clock, take the 2. You know you're playing next week.
It's that time for Mounties. They look up and they can see that their season is done. They've got 3 minutes 30 left of the 2018 season. And they have a long off-season, pre-season in front of them. Flanagan, who has been just sublime with the boot. Demetrio is getting a talking to by Coach Madison. You'd love to hear those words as the Jets are on their way to the prelim. Penrith Panthers the next stop. What a clash that'll be. The game you'll see with us at Leichhardt Oval next Saturday from 1 p.m. The Dragons taking on the winner of Canterbury and Wyong. They had to go through extra time last week, Wyong. They got the job done, and now Flanagan to take it to 34 points to 12. They are a serious player, this team, the Jets. Flanagan converts. And once again, that scoreboard ticks over. 7 goals for Flanagan. 34 points to 12. 2 minutes remain in the season for Mounties. Who are you expecting to win the Roosters-Sharks game in the NRL, Matthew Head?
Well, that's gone 10, so that'll be Mounties' ball. I just think Mounties. Mounties. I think the Roosters.
Yeah.
I think they brought Cooper Cronk for a reason, and this is his time. We know how good of a player he is, but this is his time to shine. Obviously, they let Mitchell Pearce go. The reasons for that is that maybe he couldn't get the job done at the back end of the season, so they go and get Cooper Cronk. So all signs are there for Cooper Cronk to stand up tonight. He's got Keary, Latrell Mitchell, Joseph Manu, Tedesco.
Have you seen a back five more in form than what they throw at the Roosters?
And the good thing with them too, Joel, it doesn't matter if they start the game a little bit off. They just let it go. They are, every one of their players are all about letting the game go and getting back into it. So
short side goes Tane Milne. He might have got there. Tane Milne. He scores the try. Probably their last try of the season. 34 points to 16 with a kick to come.
Well, it's one thing Tane Milne will do. He'll always play to the 80th minute. He just loves going the short side. He just shows he's too strong. Scores a 4-pointer for his Mounties, but for a year that promised a lot for the Mounties at halfway, losing Garvey, then Abby and Sam Williams going to first grade, it's cost the Mounties any chance in this competition, and they'll be disappointed with today.
And Modern Dreck puts it out to the left. So 30 seconds remain in this one, and you've got to think about the girls in the Women Rugby League, the NRL. They're warming up now as we speak for an historic moment at 3 p.m. We'll have the coverage of the Women's NRL where the Roosters take on the Warriors. You can imagine the nerves for those girls. I was talking to Maddie Studden about, would she be more nervous for this or for when she played in the State of Origin? She believes this is the bigger occasion. It's going to be a huge day for them in rugby league as he goes. I think he's going for the goal here. Is Bessie Ofunga Tumunga. And look, he cleared the post, no problem. So maybe that's something to keep in the mind for later on in the season if they need it. As Dylan raced up upon him, well, I don't know that he needed to do that.
Wow.
There's the old saying, you can't put brains in statues, and that is a silly play from the Jets. Wow. You're on your way to a prelim. Why would you come up with that buffoon of a play?
Why would you kick off? Why would you kick off?
Well, there it is. It finishes a little ugly. 34 points to 16. They've got the Panthers in front of them. That's all that stands between them and a grand final. The Newtown Jets prevail. 34 points to 16. And they are 1 game away from a grand final. 2 games away from the state championship, 2 victories if they can prevail. But Jamie Soward is down there with the key player Young Brayley.
Yeah, plenty of action down here, Joel, and with Blake Brayley. Looked dominant first half, a little bit scrappy towards the back end of the game, but you must be happy with that.
Yeah, we focused on our start, and I thought we did that today. Back end, that wasn't us. Leaning a few tries, so we have to fix that for next week.
Move on to play some minor premiers, the Penrith Panthers. Certainly going to be a big challenge.
Yeah, definitely. They've got a good side there. They've had the week off, so they'll be fresh. So we've got to bring our best game.
What do you do tonight? Do you go home and watch your older brother? You're heading out to Allianz?
Yeah, I'll head out there. Hopefully he wins as well. So fingers crossed.
No worries. Blake Brayley.
Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Jamie Soward. It could be a Brayley double today. We'll have to wait and see. But stay with us. After this, we'll wrap up all of this action of the elimination final. The Jets too good. 34 points to 16 over Mounties. Welcome back to the coverage of the Intrust Super Premiership. That's it for the Mounties. Their season is done. We know one of the prelim finals next week. It's the Jets taking on the Panthers, and largely on the back of this young fellow, man of the match, William Kennedy. Well done, mate.
Thank you very much.
Gee, you've been playing well. What's the key to it? You've just been really hitting your straps, haven't you, this last month or two?
Just trying to work hard at training and work on my weaknesses and just work hard with the team.
Are you feeling a premiership with this team?
Yeah, I can feel one, but we just got to work hard and just work together and it'll come all together.
Tell me your contract status. Are you still with the Sharks, like Jets next year?
Yeah, I got one more year with the Sharks, just re-signed for 1 year and hopefully everything works out.
William Kennedy, man of the match today. You got one game away from a grand final. Good luck next week.
Cheers, thank you very much.
There he is, William Kennedy. Too good, the Jets, 34 points to 16, starring role. They couldn't handle him, gentlemen, and as we go to the stats page here, what's the tail of the tape, would you say?
I think you look at two things this afternoon. William Kennedy putting himself in position to eliminate the Mounties kicking game, and then the possession and obviously completion rate, 27 from 32 in tricky conditions, but it was all the William Kennedy show and all the Newtown Jets. Starting off right here, the second half, you see he gets Liam Knight, the mismatch, beautiful hands from Gray. That started things off. Katoa pretty much iced the game from there, Matty Head. It was just a dominant performance from Newtown after bouncing back from a tough loss last week.
Yeah, it was. They put in a really good performance in that first half, and you have a look at the stats there in the second. That doesn't really mean much because the job was done in the first 50 minutes. You just have a look at Wes Lolo. The bench of Newtown was extremely good. The three middle forwards that come on did a really good job, and Wes Lolo gets a wonderful four-pointer there. Just wanted to score it more than the Mounties wanted to tackle him.
He was outstanding this afternoon, Wes Lolo. A couple of consolation tries late for the Mounties. Tyler Cornish had a tough afternoon with his kicking game, but they scored in the corner there through Sitovini, and then after that they got a couple more, but it was really all the Newtown Jets.
Absolutely, 34 points to 16. Here's a consolation try at the end. He deserved one, this fellow here. Makahesi Makatoa, but that's it for their season. They scored another one later through Tane Milne in the corner. But it was just too little too late in the end for the Mounties. 34 points to 16. And they seem like a team, don't they? But a big afternoon coming up tonight. You've got 3 p.m, the Women's Rugby League. That's after the break. Then we go to 5:30 p.m, Panthers, Warriors. And then capping it off tonight, the Sharkies take on the Roosters. What an evening. No need to go anywhere, right here on Wild World of Sports. Today, too good. The Newtown Jets prevailing over the Mounties.